always a fun day in the neighborhood.
Please state your name for the record and just that you're from Monroeville.
My name is John Yakim, and I am a resident of Monroeville. Mr. Mayor, members of council, Manager McKinney, Solicitor Dice, good evening. Mayor, thank you for the opportunity to address you in council again. I am here to address additional issues pertaining to the investigation into the privacy leak. Last week, one of our fire chiefs addressed council regarding the allegation that curious young firefighters were viewing a police report regarding a rape investigation. He seemed to try to dismiss the allegation as no big deal. Back in October, this chief was quoted as saying, "Who cares about the privacy breach?" I think it is a huge deal, and I think many of us care. The chief stated that he is a fire chief and a retired Monroeville police officer. He is also a former member of this council and is currently the Democratic nominee of the 3rd Ward Council seat. I would think the chief, with his experience, should understand police procedures, the Home Rule Charter, state law, local politics, and the chain of command. The chief stated that he was present when the rape report was allegedly viewed. He is claiming that this was not actually a rape report, but the call screen. The call screen may still contain confidential information. And what he didn't say is that the fire department has no business accessing this information. He stated that the same information is broadcast over public radio. I would disagree with the chief's assessment. Frequently, sensitive information is either given to a police officer via the police car computer screens, over a secure police channel, or by telephone. You often hear a dispatcher ask a police officer to go to secure, or call here by phone, or there's information on your screen. This is to prevent sensitive information from being released to the public. Oftentimes within the CAD screen, caller names are included. I have never heard a name of a sexual assault victim transmitted over radio. One of the great differences between listening to a radio and viewing something on a computer is the ability to search or retain information. If you listen on a radio, someone has to sit there and be ready to take notes. I do not think many do this. On the other hand, Mr. Mayor, because the fire department allegedly had access to the police system, they were able to search for calls based on keywords that interested them or piqued their curiosity, like rape or sexual assault. They were also able to go back and view a call multiple times, unlike a police call on a scanner. This would permit them to share this information with their friends. I wonder if these guys were able to view this information on their personal smartphones. The chief further stated that the firefighter who accessed the police report did so accidentally. He said the firefighter clicked on the wrong call to get the information for his EMS report. So it is apparent that there is no secret anymore. Firefighters were able to access non-EMS calls or fire calls. Also, he said this was reported 5 times by him. Mr. Mayor, according to the Criminal History Records Information Act, or CRIA, police information is supposed to be secure and only available on a need-to-know basis. Furthermore, Title 18, Section 5741, unlawful access to stored communications, makes it a crime to access information without authorization. And Title 18, Section 9183, provides for criminal penalties for these acts. The municipality also has a computer usage policy. The chief stated he was a Monroeville police officer for over 25 years. He was also a sergeant for many of those years. Mr. Mayor, I would think someone with that kind of experience would recognize a violation of CRIA. And I would expect someone who has been an employee of this municipality for 25 years and a former member of council to recognize Monroeville's computer usage policy. The chief stated that something had been turned in 5 times by him. I assume that he was referring to having turned in 5 times the fact that the police reports were being displayed on fire department computers. Mr. Mayor, do you know who the chief told these 5 times?
539.
I would think that the chief would understand the home rule charter and the chain of command. I would think he should know that his communications as the de facto department head or as a councilman should have been with either the chief of police or the manager. Was the chief of police or the manager told? Is there a copy available of the correspondence? If the chief or the manager were told, why did they not stop the access to the police information to the firefighters?
Continue.
Why did someone not insist that this information stop coming to the fire department computers? In the same Times Express that had the infamous "Who cares" comment, the chief makes no mention of having tried to notify any municipal officials of his claim. I also went back and searched council minutes, and I see no mention that any fire chief notified council or the mayor of this ongoing problem. Also within the chief's comments, he said, back then, before all this, it was no big deal. Seriously? Having peeping toms and voyeuristic young men viewing rape information is no big deal? For as long as I can remember, police departments, the news media, and others have treated the identity of sexual assault victims with extra sensitivity, especially when the victim is a minor or a little girl. The chief further stated, suddenly it is a big deal. Really, Mr. Mayor? It is only recently that specifics of a rape investigation are a big deal. Next, the chief stated that his fire company answers EMS calls to those same calls. So the person you are complaining about, being me, chances are goes in the ambulance to help those people. Here we go, Mr. Mayor, back to HIPAA. HIPAA makes it perfectly clear that just because you can access personal health information does not mean that you should. If the patient is not your patient, you should not be looking at their information. It is supposed to be a need-to-know basis. The chief made an emphatic and animated point that a typical police traffic stop, a police officer asks for and broadcasts a person's name, address, and date of birth, the make, model, color, and serial number of their vehicle. This is all true. However, by computerizing this information, it becomes searchable. The rumor is that thousands and thousands of records were available. Also, as stated above, when the information involves a sensitive subject, it is not routinely broadcast. It is not uncommon that if the person involved in a traffic stop is a VIP, like a family member of a councilman or the mayor, this information is not routinely broadcast over regular radio. So, Mr. Mayor, we have one member of council concerned about the cost of this investigation. Another member concerned about the bad words used by a member of council when she discovered the seriousness of the privacy breach, and another member that goes on the radio and calls the investigation a joke. Last week, against the advice of counsel, you stated that our attorney and you both declared this breach not a HIPAA violation. And now, and once again, one of our fire chiefs is calling this whole thing no big deal. Mr. Mayor, this is serious, it is a big deal, and it is not a joke. I wish those of you that are sworn to protect us would take it seriously, treat it as a big deal, and not as a joke. And once again, thank you for the opportunity to address this issue.